All right. Morning, everybody. Let's see. Looks like I got sound. OBS at least. Close a couple of these and shuffle around the chats. Go. All right. We already did switch. Yep. Okay, quick introduction for anybody who might be new or watching this in the my name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy. We are working on CircuitPython stuff. In particular, we're pretty much picking up where we left off last night on the deep dive, working on Ethernet. But like I said, if you're brand new, perhaps if you're watching this in the future, you don't know what I'm talking about, CircuitPython.org. This is the main website for the project where you can learn more about it. Basically, this is a version of Python that runs on tiny computers called microcontrollers. In my case right here, this microcontroller, this device on the far right here is a Feather TFT ESP32S2. That's the microcontroller. It's basically just a computer. This one has a screen built in and some pins and things, and I have it connected to an Ethernet adapter here. But we're writing Python code that runs on these kinds of microcontrollers to interact with other hardware. Of course, in my case, Ethernet is what I'm working with right now. But there's all different kind of shapes and sizes of these microcontrollers and all sorts of different things you can connect to them and do with them. So that's kind of generally what I tend to work on. Today, of course, we are back in Ethernet land. Let me say also real quick as well, thank you to Adafruit. This is their website if you'd like to go and buy yourself some toys. Adafruit is a hardware and software company based out of New York. They are the company that is financially backing the CircuitPython project. So they're paying the folks who work on CircuitPython to make these things possible with this implementation of Python on these microcontrollers. So thank you to them. And of course, thank you to everybody who wants to buy hardware from them. They manufacture actual hardware devices, like all three of the devices in frame here are Adafruit hardware. The bottom one is a Feather tripler. This is the Ethernet Featherwing, and then that Feather that I mentioned before are all Adafruit produced hardware. So head over there, buy yourself some toys. I think actually I have an order coming today. Actually, yeah, sorry, this will not be very fun for you, but give me 1 minute. I want to actually check the tracking on that real fast before I get too far into it, because I don't actually know that is coming today. Sometimes they have a habit of kind of scaring me when they knock at the door, because it's pretty close by here. I have a couple of distance sensors, time of flight distance sensors, as well as some displays, the iSpy ribbon connectors, and a couple of displays with that. How's it going, Johnny? Yeah, today. Cool. Looks like a little later on today, but we'll see. Let me just go back here. Okay. Played with a millimeter wave sensor yesterday. Impressive little device. Which is that the little sonic sensor device? Is that a sensor? Is that the little like 2 No, this is a different thing, maybe. This look like millimeter wave. Okay, yeah, this is totally different. What is it? Is it a distance sensor, essentially, or? Not automotive. Detect if I'm in the room better than PIR. Ah, okay. Interesting. So it's like it's detecting humans, basically. It's detecting something about us. Heat signature or motion or some kind of radio interference or something. Fancy. That sounds fun. Okay, so I did notice Biffo Bear updated us here, and the change here is actually interesting. This is something I want to explore a little bit today and try to understand, because what I noticed is they basically just changed this back to not... Where's the commit that it changed? I guess it would, yeah, I guess it would be that one. Okay, that's an empty list. I think it's this. Basically, they just changed it back to not underscore, though, which is actually quite odd to me, because I did not... My understanding was that the leading underscores were like a suggestion only in Python. It's unclear to me how that influences us to get a attribute not found, which was the error that it raised. So I want to test this out, but I also want to even peel back the layer, so to speak, a little bit farther. I want to just level set my understanding of Python, I guess, variable scope real quick here. So which one was this? This is simple server. Yeah. I noticed also that I want to say Dan J maybe from yesterday's stream. They have a different GitHub name. E28 ETA is their GitHub name. Hug report to them. They put in a PR. I think this person was watching the stream yesterday. They put in a PR to update that simple server to move the accept inside the loop. So thank you to them. And also thank you to Anecdata, who's already reviewed it as well. That is awesome to see. I don't. Let's see. Some of them support making a detector that can detect if you fall. Oh, interesting. That's perfect for the elderly. They use radar instead of the PIR. Oh. I shouldn't probably call it test. I think that implies it might try to run with PyTest or something. Scope learning class. So if this has a... How does this code actually work? Like I've been muted? What has happened here? Well, not me been muted, but the thing I'm listening to has been muted. No? Okay. How's it going, DJ Devin? Good morning. So these are just variables inside of, so maybe we don't need a class just yet. These are just variables inside of here, inside of this file, which is called Adafruit.WizNet, which we're importing. So let me actually structure this a bit different than a class. Let's say, oh, I didn't try to run that. Calm down. Okay. Let's go. Scope learning. Scope learning has public constant, const, I have to import. Does have to import. Interesting. Sorry. Still trying to solve my mute mystery here. Okay. So I was under the impression these were like suggestions only and didn't have really technical differences aside from MPY, it turns out. Doesn't save the whole string in this case. But functionally wise, I was under the impression these were same, basically. But it seems like that's not actually the behavior we're getting. So how is it imported? Let's see. Which actual file did it fail from? Was it socket or DHCP? It was socket. So inside of socket in exit, it tried to access that. By just saying WizNet.Adafruit.WizNet.thing. So what is, where did WizNet come from? In this case, is that's like an instance variable, or? Fortunately, there's a lot of this word. Okay, that's just import. Okay. So the as in that case is superficial, I believe. So this is something pretty much kind of like import scope learning as learning. Something to do with being in the file, but not the imported class. I'm not sure. Yeah. So it's in, I mean, it's, so in this case, it's not the class that's imported, it is the module or package, or I don't really know the proper term, truthfully. And then, so then it imports the whole thing, but then it also accesses the same, because this is what it imported, and then it accesses Adafruit WizNet, which is a file inside of it. So that's the name of the package, but that's also the name of a file inside of it, which is where the constant is at. I wonder if we need to be going through those layers for it to do the same thing. So yeah, let's start with, does this actually print or give us an attribute error? Okay. So I know how it behaves now, but this is like opposite everything I've ever heard about Python. Okay, plot thickens. This is a difference between CircuitPython and Python. Interesting. Huh. I wonder if that is intentional. Okay, I mean, this is what I've always understood. I ran it on the PC, and this just works. That's what I've always understood, is that in Python, the leading underscore, the private, it's a suggestion only. It's not enforced by anything, so that this code should just work fine. In CircuitPython, it doesn't seem to be the case, though. And it's not an MPY thing, which is the only other functional difference I know between the underscore and the not underscore. But we're not using MPY right now. This is just all Python code only. Huh. Does anybody happen to know? Should we, maybe let's search for issues? That's like intentional, or? Let's not care about open, and let's just try private variable. Nothing. What about just private? Private attribute? I don't know. That is weird. I mean, it seems weird, right? What? Does the constant make a difference? Maybe specifically the constant allows privates? Test that in a minute. Okay. That in the CircuitPython dev channel. Let's see if anybody's got thoughts on that. How's it going, Axel? Let's try something that's not a constant. Public value 5. Let's do a value that's different than this one, though. 9. Private value H. Private value. Accidentally put shouty there. Is the const somehow does this. Fascinating. Global underscore const are optimized out. Nice, Stan H to the rescue. Yeah, I'll just wait and read what I was gonna say. Let me look at the docs for const. I imagine kind of trust whatever Dana's gonna send me if he's gonna send me something over whatever I just find and try to understand. Interesting though. So the const somehow. Huh. Okay, that's good to know. I did not know that. The const somehow enforces private. Leading underscores. Okay. I can take that into account, I think. It's definitely different than what I thought, but So we just need to now pull this and test the latest version, and it should be good because the latest version just changes back the leading underscore to not be there anymore for that one constant that is used from the other file in that way. I do need to, well, I don't know if I need to, but out of superstition, let's say, I'm going to go to main, I'm going to delete this. Check it out again by going GHPR list. Try pulling main. I think we should be updated on main, but GHPR checkout 86. Nice. Thank you to Dan H. Very much. Internal constant values. Porting an Arduino library to CircuitPython. This is an exercise I should probably embark on one of these days. I assume it means like an I2C driver. I think that's what VL61. Ah, yeah. Nice. It does make sense too, though, I guess. Like, it makes sense why CPython would... why this would be a difference. We squeeze out memory by doing this, basically. CPython doesn't care about memory, really. Has more than it will ever use, is kind of the baseline assumption. Unless you're doing crazy stuff. Gotcha with internal constant values is that they can only be used inside your driver or module. Your users can never reference these values. What is a module? Is module single file or... Need a superstition option for debugging for uncertain. Yeah. I like it. Python module. Is a Python module a single file? I guess probably, right? Yeah, a file containing a set of functions. Then a package would be a folder with multiple modules inside, I guess. Okay. We take that one. I know that was like not necessarily directly related to Ethernet, but that was like just needed to level set my understanding, because like speaking of superstition, that's like the kind of thing that I thought was impossible. So I needed to like figure out where the actual bounds were if what I thought was impossible and didn't give second thought to actually was possible. That is copied, and then we'll just... I was going to say we'll take the stock simple server. I think not, though, right? We want to take the edited one because... well... actually, I want the edited... well, this is a different edited one. I want one that has DHCP true, basically. Save space and time. Space because the dictionary entries are not needed. Time because runtime lookup. No runtime lookup needs to be done. Nice. Okay. I think I had, yeah, this one here, which we just took that out. So I think it's DHCP true. We'll take that. Put that in CodePy. Do we need to keep this? No, I don't think I need to keep this. I think I get it now. I mean, I have the other one, I suppose. I probably don't really need to keep it either, but... So this is still the old one where... Oh no, actually this one does have accept inside. Okay, so we're after listen. We went into the loop, but we have not hit accept yet. So that's just waiting for accept. So we'll go telnet. Do we have, yeah, 147 still, okay. 2. Where did I put that, connection close by foreign host. So it did not raise the exception, so it looks like we're good. It didn't start doing the fast looping thing, but that's also, I guess, because this is moved now. In my version here. And then theoretically, we should be able to just connect again and send another one, right? Like if I just do this. Ooh, we never did get like after accept. Should we have gotten that? Oh, copied more stuff. Uh-oh. I sent while true. What happens if you send too much? Oh, it didn't copy. What? Now we have while true twice. Copy, 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 copy. Paste. Of course, how are we gonna know? Oh, whatever. I don't know. I don't think I received a second time. Okay, listening. And also the being able to repeat this is not necessarily like, if that doesn't work, that's not really part of this PR either though, right? This was just to fix that constant. The other PR, the new one, actually I think fixes this rerunning thing. So maybe we should be testing with that one really to care about the redoing. What was the way to exit? So this was control right bracket and then close, which seems like a bizarre thing. Got accept, starting receive. Copy that. Why does it not copyright? Am I missing something? Why does that not copy, 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 copy? It does wrap back around to listening, but it does not, with this iteration right here, it does not seem to, like the second connection, it doesn't notice it. Something goes wrong with it, I don't know. Not sure what's going on, but it doesn't, this side it doesn't see it. But let's not worry about that with this version of the code. There's a separate, totally separate PR in to try to fix that. We got the original thing that was failing yesterday with the old version is no longer failing with this version. It's no longer raising the exception. So that part is good. Which makes this PR good, I believe. I had put in here about the size test. It's not actually true, though, I think. I was incorrectly thinking this when I thought this, because the problem with this one is, I mean, not the problem. In fact, it's a good thing, not a problem at all. But the thing about this is that this one, the size is going to be going down, not up. And the size test thing does not... Pretty sure it didn't only do it if it got too big. It's been a while since I worked on this. Needs to move to a new file at this point. Yeah. Could probably close from here. You gotta circle back and try take another stab at this, I guess. Oh, okay, it might have triggered. It might have triggered. Yeah, I misremembered actually. So I was thinking this only triggered if it went, if the size got bigger, essentially, like if they were adding size. But this does actually, it says either direction. And it also has the baseline of bytes, although I forgot what it was set to. I have no idea for sure. Although this library is somewhat sizable, so I'm guessing it probably would be. And then also strings percentage, which I don't know for this library, but that might be a thing that tripped it, or that might be a thing where it used to be 50% and no longer is, but one of the other ones I think may have tripped it. Any which way, though, I don't necessarily think I don't really want to hold up this for it, basically, even if it would work. Like, this is going to require some more effort to go back and move it over to this one. It probably should be remade as an action repo or whatever. Right now it just does like a git clone and like runs some stuff as Python. It could always be improved though once it started getting used as well. Anyway, I don't think it's worth holding up the this just in order to be able to use it as a test for that. Realistically, this person already put the results of the test here anyway. It's in a different format than that thing would print, but it's ultimately all the same information as what's in there. Let's see here. I would say that's just minor version, right? Because nothing, no functional change, no new features, not even really like a bug fix. This one is just strictly pretty much just refactoring. No functionality has intentionally changed at all. Constant. Let's go refactoring constants, refactoring constant names. So they, let's say, can be optimized further by MPY cross. In other tools, I suppose? I don't know if, I mean, like, MicroPython const is another tool that's keying in on that. Maybe there's other stuff as well. I think that Learn Guide page did say interpreter and other tools, so. Thirteen one, 113.2. Okay, we'll work on the older ones first. I took a look at this one as well. I think I do agree with Anecdata about DHCP false. I could go either way on an example being in the other one. I don't. This one was crossed out. I assume that means that kind of like changed your mind basically. If I'm understanding that correctly. On that part, I think definitely though DHCP I do, because it doesn't. I Let me look back at the code too, because it doesn't specify the IP, so it's kind of like it can really only work in a coincidence the way it's coded now, right? Or is that not true? I think that's true, because it doesn't... So it sets the server IP here, but it doesn't... It has DHCP false, but it doesn't do that code that configures the static IP. This is what the test code in the PR was moved. I gotcha. I'm down with adding that ultimately as well to the repo, for what it's worth too. Do I understand that right? This basically, as written here, it can only work as a coincidence, basically. If you, yeah, cached, essentially. Like, I suppose coincidence is probably not the right way, but can only work based on previous execution. If some other code file was running and it got you an IP, and the IP was the one you specified here, this would work. But if you just run this from a cold boot with nothing prior, as written, it can't actually work. That being said, I suppose it's kind of expected that you change at least something, right? Because chances are slim that you're going to have exactly that IP either way, whether you actually assign it or it's DHCP or anything else. That's kind of a long shot. I am going to put up the sun blocker real quick, so I'll be right back. I am interested to see... Yeah, come on. There we go. I'm interested to try the loop. I think I am going to go back and do the older ones first too, though, because I definitely agree with DHCP. I don't know if this person will be around today or not, but I think we'll try to wait until they do the DHCP change. But if they don't, and we get through some of these other ones, then maybe we'll circle back and do that one as well. I can just change it on my side. So what do we want to look at next? Either NTP standardized sockets or CNAME issue. So I'm assuming this one is likely to be the most complex. I don't know that for a fact, but just based on the names and what I think it means and stuff, I assume this one to be the most complex and in-depth as far as a change goes. So I think I lean towards the other ones first. I'm a low-hanging fruit kind of guy usually. Infinite loop, so this fixes 56. Let's see what is written in here. Oh, Anecdata looked at this, looks good. WS10 replies instantly. Okay, so we can test this one real quick as a secondary test, and then probably we're good here. That definitely seems lower hanging fruit than the other, so let's do that. What's the actual error situation here? So I'm working on WizNet. Do I need, maybe I can't. Do I need specifically the 5100? No. Well, no. Doesn't look like it. Seems like it should work with mine, which I think is 5500 or something. I'm not sure on all the versions, but intermittent hangs in get time. Working with part of troubleshooting, I wanted timestamps, so I configured NTP. I saw there was no NTP example code. I'm pro adding that too. Is there not? I thought there was. Is there not? I guess I would have ran it. Would I have ran it yesterday? I probably would have ran it yesterday, huh? Yeah, no, we should add that too. I'm definitely pro that. As a new example, just need to change the pin settings. 51 and 55 are the same. Oh, okay. Just different number of sockets. Interesting. EVB Pico. Was it, this was that Pico somebody linked yesterday, maybe? Okay, yeah, so we'll do the bus differently. We'll just keep the same pins and stuff we have for setting up as is, and then we'll create this thing. We don't need any of the WS host name. Actually, is kind of interesting. I don't know that we need a Mac. I might just skip that to start with, probably. Gonna keep whatever it had before, I assume, or it has hard-coded one, I think we said yesterday, maybe. Sync function, current time, prints that, machine prints a bunch of stuff. Sync, print, while true, sleep 5 seconds. Maintain. This works often. Just as often it hangs. Yeah. Get time calls socket receive from a while true. This results in an infinite loop if no data is received. UDP can lose packets, so it's possible. Added retries using exponential fallback gives slow networks a chance. If there's no response, a timeout error is raised. Seems reasonable to me. So this is, let's see, 82. GHPR list, GHPR checkout. I don't necessarily need to list and then check out. I could just check out, but TP fix infinite loop. So now one thing though, I guess, did we mess it up by merging main, or? Seems okay. Seems okay. It doesn't have conflicts or anything listed here, so. There is this too. Was this? I don't see the date. Could find that in there more somewhere, maybe. Needed for the, let's see, NTP library hides the low-level differences. NPTP, the older versions of. Oh, right, we do have NTP as a separate library. I forgot about that. Older versions of Adafruit NTP library has the UDP code. Current versions are for native Espressif and Raspberry Pi. I see. With that, it's. Which side of the fence should the example live on, I wonder? So if there was going to be an example for Ethernet NTP, should it live in the WisNet library or live in the NTP library? I guess this example doesn't. Well, I guess it would be the WisNet library because it has its own NTP class, in fact. But maybe that's part of the effort to standardize the sockets, I guess. Maybe if it had the standardized socket, then it could use the other NTP. Is that how that goes? Okay. So let's take the released version currently, I think. So let's just go back to device, delete the current one, which is the one from the last PR. And then I'll just do circup to install for now. Another standalone NTP library. Indeed. Yep. Okay. We actually want, I think we just take this example, but we're going to be tweaking some stuff with it. Not going to do any of this. Nope, not going to do that either. Going to do that. CS is the only pin. What if... So I was thinking about this last night, actually. I was trying to think of a solution that would allow us to... in the most basic of situations, which, in fact, this specific exact one right here is not actually, right? Because I think these are Raspberry Pi Pico pins or something, which are a little bit different. But if we look back at, like, simple server here... this is the most basic of situation that I'm talking about here. When you go to try to initialize BusIO SPI and you use these exact 3 pins, SCK, MOSI, MISO, when you do it on a device with a built-in display, it fails because the display has already initialized the SPI bus, i.e. then therefore the pins are already in use. And the way that you would ordinarily fix this in this situation would be to access SPI like this instead of initializing BusIO SPI. What if we went inside of BusIO here and made a special case for this? Is that weird? Could there be a special case that like checks for that? It's not an attribute error. It's like a runtime error, OS error, pin in use. I don't know what the type of error is, but could we catch that pin in use error and then check if the SPI bus has already been, check if the default SPI bus, SCK, MOSI, MISO, the default one, see if that's already been initialized, and if it has, then just return it instead of raising, because then, like, if this could internally, inside the core, just turn into this in situations where that exists, and this would raise an exception, that means the code would be more compatible across devices. Fun twist. Typically you want RTC datetime equals NTP datetime to set the RTC from the NTP, but if you don't trust your processor real-time clock, you can force an NTP lookup every time. Whoa. How often is every time? Like every tick of the clock or something? This module does not handle daylight savings or local time. Should be included. I mean, you know, the second half of your statement, I think, is the reason why they're not included. I would say, I mean, my assumption would be contributions are welcomed for sure of that stuff. I think time zone is an intractable problem. You have to deal with it somehow yourself. Time zone stringer and offset. Anyway, that was just a random thought I had last night. It was like, I wonder if that could be made essentially cross-compatible by checking for that one error state and in that specific case just returning the SPI bus that's already been initialized. CS, I think I'll just copy this, right? Why do we bother with a different name or anything? I don't know. We need a host name? Can you have dashes in your host name? Probably shouldn't, right? Okay. That seems pretty much like it should run, I think. Ish. Yo. Starting. Failed. So I will say we did see this yesterday. Sometimes when I was saving CodePy, it felt like we got in this state where we somehow consumed the something and it's never going to release again until this thing power cycles. So unplug, replug. There we go. So now this just runs every 5 seconds. So we'll let it run for a little bit, and they said it succeeds relatively frequently, but then it also fails relatively frequently. So I'm kind of interpreting that to be like a 50-50, and I think the failure mode it said was hangs, right? So I suppose theoretically we could be in the failure mode already. It's been more than 5 seconds, I think, probably. I think we do actually already have the MAC address dead beef anyway. Does that hostname actually work? Does this work? Does that mean hostname like... Well, I don't have a server running. Does it... It doesn't probably respond to pings or anything either, does it? I guess in this case, hostname doesn't really mean anything. I don't think. Hostname will show up in your router if you use DHCP. But it won't... It's not like a... It's not like... Is it a way to access it here? Like, theoretically, if I had had an HTTP server running, could I do something like this? Port 80 or 8080 or whatever port we're on. It's not like a public name like that, is it? Or is it? The daytime library is lacking some stuff. There's no single library that handles everything needed for time. Yeah, time is tricky. Time is especially tricky on a microcontroller where it does not have power for periods of time. Just using some protocols. Okay, yeah, so it doesn't, it's not letting you actually use that as the name. Had to get into struct time. Yeah, I've struggled with the structs as well sometimes. It's like tough formatting sometimes to get it exactly how it needs to be. So I do feel like we may have hung here, right? We got one success and then it never has printed anything else. Does it like, what are we actually expecting? Does it have a... Well, it doesn't run again though. Yeah, it doesn't run again. This is just sleeping and maintaining the lease. We don't call sync again. Okay, so I guess we'll just Control-C, Control-D then? Failed to resolve hostname. Does this define the NTP server that it's hitting, or is that inside there somewhere? No. NTP address comes in as a string. Does seem like this one's stuck. Oh, pool.ntp.org. -5. That, I guess, UTC then, or? Yeah. Which is right, for my time zone sometimes. Does feel like we got hung inside there, right? Should we put this inside and like let it loop, maybe? Maybe sleep a tiny bit longer? Is it board that throws the pin in use error? That's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to, I'll run the example here in a minute. We'll get the actual error. It would be nice to allow multiple instances of the spy pins to support multiple devices on the bus. Wondering if board could be made to permit pin reuse for shared buses. So I'm not necessarily thinking reuse the pins, but mostly just like, in that case, pretend to reuse them basically and just give them the already configured spy bus object. For other pins, like, I'm thinking specifically for the bus, the spy bus, truthfully. But I'm not necessarily thinking more generally like if a pin is in use, then another thing can also grab it and use it. But just that bus.io is smart enough to like, if the pin is in use, and if the spy bus is already set up correctly, then just consume the error and pass the spy bus back to the user, since that's what they asked for. And technically we can do it, even though we got the error. Secrets, some Metafruit examples put time zone in secrets, but then that requires an HTTP API lookup to get the offset. The snippet I fall back on for time zone. But I do think we have hung again. It's feeling like we've hit a couple of those hangs there. I'd like to get another success if we could, but maybe that's not in the cards right now. In which case we'll just switch over to the modified one, because like we know this one hangs sometimes. So it sounded like they got decent successes too, though, right? So, and it doesn't just hang consistently forever. I suppose we could do the hard reboot again, but not really getting that same error about the HTTP configuration failed. I wonder if I'm being too impatient. I mean, it feels like it's not, like the one that did succeed, it failed. Okay, then we got a failed host name. Oh, there we got a failed to allocate socket. Maybe it is time to reboot. Yeah, I think it is time to reboot. Yeah. I have every server I set up with a method or two to serve up the offset, either in the response body or HTTP header. You serve up the offset of the server? I just run all my servers on UTC. Online only example I'm still using serial only. Still haven't used Wi-Fi workflow. Yeah, with TOML, so I'm still using secrets file. Yeah, I need to start using the TOML as well. Failed to resolve host name. Oh, we got one successful though, and then we failed on the next one. Does it matter if it's NTP or a simple GET request? To me, it doesn't matter. I'm not sure if that is a question to me or not. In my mind, though, if the goal is to get the time from something on the internet, whether you got the time from an NTP server or just another server that you trust to know the right time, I don't see a big difference, really, personally. Boy, this really feels like we get one success and then no more, right? Like we got one success, a bunch of failures, eventually hard reset, and then one more success, and now a bunch of failures. I'm guessing presumably we end up in the hard reset where we're getting the failed to configure and all that stuff. Kind of odd. I did notice we're not on the latest version. Maybe we should a slight detour here real fast and update. Should have done that earlier when I had CircuitPython.org open, maybe. What? Oops, wrong one. I want UF2. Alright, well, I'll change over to the fixed one. Hopefully the fixed one will be more reliable. I'm gonna go get a new coffee real fast. Okay. You're back. I heard the doodaloos, so this thing must have rebooted. Failed to resolve hostname after the first try only. So theoretically, I think we should get a success in here, maybe. Not though. Failed to allocate socket. So I don't even know why we for some reason we rebooted. It says code stopped by auto reload, but I don't know what. I didn't save anything in here. Something else, I guess, on my PC must have saved. And it does look like we're now stuck on socket is consumed or whatever. Try getting the time from cellular mobile. Those AT commands are finicky a lot of the time, just doesn't work. Can't know your offset, and you'd have to hit the right server. Yeah, I have fetched time from Google before in a project. Send a GET request to google.com and they return the time in a header, I think. I don't know. This is really weird. I feel like we have a pretty solid like state where we're getting exactly one success for some reason. Feels like I don't think I have ever seen it get two in a row. Like once it gets one, then it just is like never succeeds again until you essentially hard reset and try several more times after the hard reset in some cases. We'll go back here, we'll delete the released one. We will put the modified one. I'll break to REPL before we paste it, just so after we paste it, it's not going to start running until we do Control D. Way we kind of get to control when it starts a little bit better. Failed to resolve. Resolve. I need to give it one more hard reset after changing over the library. I think I will. However, I will say failed to resolve hostname is generally not the permanent error. That one's usually temporary. Like if you just retry some more, it will eventually succeed, from what I've seen. But in this case, we'll just give it the old reboot there. There we go. Oh, OS. Ah, yeah, there we go. Okay, so we got that new code saved us. Yeah, that new code saved us right there. We would have just got stuck forever, but instead we bailed after 4 attempts. And then we got a failed to resolve hostname after, which we don't have any kind of retry around, but I think that right there was the new version helping us out, basically. Yeah. Failed to resolve. Did I catch that and make it loop also? That's what you would do in a real project for sure. Oh, no. Oh. And we got the socket. And then after that, I think it's just stuck until it reboots. I wonder if the server, would it have any kind of like cooldown or timeout or whatever? Like, am I hitting it too fast potentially? Is it just ignoring subsequent requests because I did it within like a minute or whatever? Could it have a lockout on it or something? That seem reasonable at all? It kind of line up. I mean, I'm getting like a bunch of fails, and then eventually a succeed. We're getting different kinds of errors, though. Fortunately, this will take much longer to wait, so we get to hang out for a second. Of course, man, it's gonna just be failed to resolve hostname. I suppose I don't really care if it succeeds multiple times. It'd be nice to see multiple in the context of that PR, but we did already see the way that it catches the error. Replies instantly after retries. Yeah. I'll let it run a couple of attempts, but this is already a huge improvement over just hang forever. Yeah, of course we did. Should probably be a little bit of retry logic in the host name as well, maybe, I don't know. Attempts. Or is it something to do with like, could it not return successfully if your time is already close to real? Maybe because maybe it succeeds after the reboot because that's when my time gets reset back to wrong? Does that make any sense? Can you scroll up to my test code? I can, yeah. It is essentially bus. So set up the Ethernet thing. Let's have this. I don't think that's doing anything with us, but that is different than the previous examples we were doing. Has sync time, which goes NTP with Ethernet, ntp.org. Setting, so it goes RTC datetime equals get time. Current time prints that, so it prints all those things. It calls sync the first time, it prints current time, then it goes into the loop where it's just wait, maintain, sync, and print over and over. Setting up a new NTP. Possibly. I mean, I essentially just copied the code out of the issue and changed only the parts that were relevant to my device, as far as I know. Well, I suppose that's not true because I made it start looping. Actually, I put it inside the loop. Yeah, it does seem to me like it is creating a new one every time. Is that not ideal? Be able to resolve hostname eventually. Time error. Oi, what is that? Because the code moved into the loop, yeah. Or what you would do. Could be some as yet undiscovered bug. That is true. I've slowed it down some, maybe? Oh, now we're on the socket. I mean, I do think there is some undiscovered bug, because I feel like we get locked out of after a while until we hard reset. Keep track of what errors you're getting and automatically. Yeah, you could. In fact, I think Anecdata and or NearDoc have shared their example code that does some of that back off and reboot behavior. Basically, a tiered list of like when it fails this way, respond this way X number of times, and then if it fails this way, respond that way X number of times, and then if it keeps failing, then push the ultimate red button of full reset or whatever. You definitely could. I am not necessarily going to do that just for this example, because I feel like we pretty much, honestly, just seeing this, even seeing this once, is enough for me to approve the PR, because that was really the intention of the PR, was to catch that issue and have it not loop forever and instead raise an exception. And it does. And then after that, I'll probably move on to the next PR instead of trying to make the particular example more robust still. First, though, I'm going to load up some tunes. Oh, sorry there, Sippy V. I apologize, my friend. I don't know exactly how long ago you popped up in the chat there. You're not still around. That's a bummer, and that's totally on me. But if you are still around, I am working on CircuitPython. In particular, we're looking at the Ethernet library for CircuitPython, which is allowing us to basically connect our microcontroller to the wired Ethernet network. Somewhere in one of these million tabs, I have a camera where we have the microcontroller I'm working with, the Ethernet adapter, and then this cable is plugged into it. So we're testing some changes in the Ethernet library to see if the changes are good or not, or if we want to change it further, or keep it how it is, or what. And so far, I'm thinking changes are looking good. Oh, failed to resolve. Would this not loop? Why did this not loop? Oh, it did loop, but it has another 70 seconds. Shoot. I meant to try to make it retry faster, but I failed that. Oh well. Anyway, the original test was one shot only, not the loop. And the original test does now give us that error instead of getting hung forever. So I feel like I'm happy with that. I'm curious about this thing. I don't. Why do we have to do this? We don't. Is there something like this in Wi-Fi? Like, why is this? I've run across this a few times in the last couple of days, but I don't recall ever seeing it before that. I may have just kind of. These are not the functions you're looking for. It out of my brain though. Maybe. Personally, never seen someone legitimately need to have so many tabs open. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't keep track of everything, is the short and, yeah, somewhat depressing, I suppose. Not really depressing, but the real answer is I don't keep track of everything. I try to just look through them, and I get overwhelmed by it sometimes and go through and pare them all down. I'm just bad at closing them, is the truth. I've gotten better on this computer than I was on the last computer, so there's that. I probably close tabs at least like once a week now. Yeah, no. I know you're not saying that. I am saying sometimes it is for what it's worth. Sometimes I do get too many, and it can be a bad thing. It's something I'm trying to work on, truthfully. So, but yeah, no, I know that's not what you were saying. Looks like my tab list. You know what's Sky uses the vertical tabs, which I find interesting. I almost want to get like a widescreen monitor. These days, I might get a widescreen monitor. That's true. That's definitely true. Having a little bit of extra horizontal space and then using the vertical tabs that are stacked on the left and even can nest or whatever, that actually seems pretty sweet. I would want the extra width though. I feel cramped if I didn't have the width. Like I even close this sometimes. It's essentially it would be the same basic interface as this, and I actually find myself closing this thing a lot of times. So because I get feeling cramped with that column there, but one second. Okay. There's someone who refuses to have a single desktop icon, like having a blank desktop. What do I have? I have a couple. Some of them with non-PG language. I used to use I used to save desktop icons more. I will say very carefully, I will say it very carefully that way. I used to save desktop icons more. I used to make more desktop icons. I don't think it would be correct to say I used to use desktop icons more, because the truth is I would make them and not use them most frequently. Like not my last computer, but my one before that, the last Windows computer I used, my desktop was all the way icons. All the way. There was like maybe like 5 empty spots in the grid on the entire screen. It was bad. Bad. I've done a lot better on Linux though. I don't really use the desktop hardly at all. Aliases. Things are in their place. Documents, directories. Person I uses Windows search bar. Doesn't even use the start menu, just search and opening every program. That's how I do Linux. That's how I was on Windows when I used it last, which is why I like, even though I was saving those icons, I wasn't actually using them. Usually I was either searching with just like Windows key and then type something, or in the actual Explorer search for a file or something like that. That was like the majority of my navigation last time I used Windows for sure. No, I was pretending like I was going to use those icons. I try to minimize icons on the desktop to high priority active folders in my text snippets. You import microcontroller reset because I'm lazy to type it all the time. You have it in a, do I understand right? You have it in a text file so you can like run it through the REPL somehow, or import, or so you I guess just can copy paste it easily? And then put it into the REPL, I suppose. Yeah, once you copy paste it, then you can put it wherever you want. Nice. Drop it into TO, nice. Let's see here. Windows trope to put things on the desktop. My Windows box, which is basically my gaming console. I have like Steam and the likes, games I'm currently playing. Windows desktop is a launcher. Got stuff pinned in the start menu. I did use the start menu pins a lot. That is one of the things that took some getting used to when I switched over from Windows, is I did have a couple of programs in that start menu pin or whatever that I did access through there. And now this one's got, you can have pinned along the top, but it's still different. It did take some getting used to. So this would be, I think is it still a minor version? It's a bug fix. I feel like I'm bad at this. I feel like I underutilize the medium number sometimes. Maybe it should be a medium bump for this one, but it's not. It's only a bug fix. It's not really new functionality. It's not backwards incompatible or anything. It's just like, in this case, there used to be a worse error. Now there's a not quite as bad error that's descriptive also, which makes it infinitely better, perhaps. 1.13.3. The socket one, maybe. The compatible socket one feels like one to be bumping larger numbers on, perhaps. I'll say module. I don't know if it's actually a class in there or not. I didn't look. IKEA desktop is about 30% full. IKEA desktop? Oh, the top of your desk, your actual desk. Sorry. Thinking of like computer desktops. I have my desk, my actual desk has got a lot of stuff on it. I'm bad about putting stuff on my desk. I would say I am as bad about putting stuff on my actual desk as I used to be about putting stuff on my desktop, which I've gotten better there, so maybe I'll get better at my physical desktop too. That'd be nice. I did do the wallpaper grouping thing for a little while. I started that in high school and used it for several years, honestly. I had a background where I had like outlines of different stuff. I did use that for a while. It was kind of nice. Save and restore. Yeah, I never did do save and restore. I always took new computer as the time to like spring cleaning, basically. Just delete everything and start fresh. The ones that I actually need will get added again. The ones that I don't actually need will get forgotten about. Workbench, but my main PC is still on the coffee table. They're moving into the new place a year later. Yeah. Temporary will do that to you. Friend calls IKEA desktop clutter flat surface syndrome. I definitely have flat surface syndrome. I definitely do. I forgot to put thank you Biffo Bear, but I think if I edit it, weird stuff will happen too. So fortunately we get no contributor on that one, but Biffo Bear knows. Thank you to Biffo Bear nonetheless. Got a couple other PRs still from them as well, so I don't know how many more I will go through today, though. I'll start looking at this one. My assumption is that socket one here is going to be the most complex. So CNAME, then I presume will be a little bit less so. Not actually sure what it's doing. Each function has only one return. Pilot seems confused. Pilot sometimes is confused. I can second that. Pilot sometimes is confused. DNS. So this is all DNS stuff. This is a lot of change, though. CNAME issues. There is a test in there now as well. Extract unique DNS responses. Test DNS server non-breaking changes. Actually, a lot of tests in here now. Parse DNS function. Well, there's 3. 3's a lot. 3's a lot more than 0. Flat surface syndrome for the win. Just read my office, so my main desk is about 8 feet wide, and behind me there's 2 7-foot desks. Nice. Yeah. I will move up to a bigger desk at some point. The problems I have with most computer desks today is they don't even have shelves, drawers, filing cabinets, things like that. They're just four legs and a surface. Yeah, I've got a couple of shelves down to my right down here, and I'd be lost without them. Honestly, I would like a couple on the left also, and a couple more on the right, and a couple back there, and maybe a few more over there, and maybe another desk also. For the four legs, I have drawer blocks on wheels. That's one way to do it too. I've got the working room, like with the soldering iron and stuff, has got a regular table, but then it's got some like movable drawers and stuff up underneath it to make sort of like drawers that are built in, but not actually built in for real. Longitude stack 2x12s. All right, let's look at the actual English for this one. I personally don't understand DNS really to the extent necessary to really offer too much on the specifics of the implementation here, but this says closing 19 and 24. DNS resolve subdomain is from a little while ago, 530. This still occur. 540. Provide a network capture. Believe this is the same as 24. Was that one okay? Does this? DNS query returns a CNAME record. The A record is never found. The example below uses API ipify.org. Quite the name, huh? Is that my IP? Did I just leak my IP? I don't have anything listening publicly anyway. What is that supposed to, I'm intrigued. What is that supposed to do? There's like no information on there. pi.org? Did I type it wrong? IPify. IPify. Simple public IP address API. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. For some unit tests to make sure don't change the external behavior of the DNS library, nor its interaction with the socket, send and receive data. Refactored the code to separate reading the DNS record from parsing the DNS record. Refactored building the query and parsing the response into functions so that they can be unit tested without mocking out the WizNet interface and socket. Refactored DNS query builder, hard code most of it, as only the question name and query ID vary. Refactor DNS response parser to mask out flags that don't affect parsing, then check the remaining flags. Refactor DNS response parser to correctly parse answers until a type A class in one is found. Future-proof DNS parser by raising exceptions in case perhaps one day the -1s go away. I don't know what that means, but okay. Refactored the get host by name function to handle the exceptions and maintain current -1ness. -1ness? Fix has been tested on 5,500, 489 unique domain names. Without the fix, 192 did not return an IPv4. With the fix, 15 names did not resolve, and none of those 15 responses included an IPv4. To resolve the branch conflict, include the REPL from your hardware test. Self-request, REPLs. So type A. Not sure how I can resolve merge conflict. Probably help with that if it's still there. Merge the latest version into the PR. No more conflicts, but this is also from a little bit ago. And we'll have a few more now. So let's go to... So we'll need to actually have remote again. So let's go... Oh. Oh, you know what? I just realized... Put up Twitch chat again. Incidentally. It's just 12 by 3. $75. Pretty good for a desk, for sure. So let's see. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Where are we at here? We need to, yeah, get ready to merge this. So we need to have the, we're gonna have to have remote of BiffOBear, is we will have to push. That's not right. All right, this one is fix CNAME issue. We will go check out that. We will go update main. Try to merge main. Now, one thing is I don't know how hairy the merge conflicts are going to be here. It's very possible that it's outside of my ability to merge, but we will take a look. We will try to give it a try. These are from our underscores PR that we just did a bit ago. That stuff has no conflict, so we'll pull it in that way. Take those. Yeah, here we get into some... okay. So I think Magic Wand will work in this case, yeah. Basically, we want the left version, but we want the leading underscore, which is, it is what it gave us. Build DNS. Here we're going to have some of the same thing, basically, where we want the logic from the left, but we want the leading underscores now. I think actually Magic Wand is going to do for us again. Yeah. We didn't parse, so we pull that from the left. This is the old stuff. We pull the removal. Here we've got a conflicting section where it doesn't have a magic wand, unfortunately, so... it's going to be tougher. I mean, this is the end of that file, I guess, so... Guess we go from the left and then X on that. All changes. That ended up being really the only actual changes was those underscores, it looks like, which is good. That's what we want. I didn't really intend to change any of the other logic or anything inside there. Probably should have ran pre-commit. Should I run it now? Or do we just wait for GitHub? These might supposed to be leading underscores. No results. Oh, those got lost. Oh, there they are. I see. Yeah, they do need to be they do just need to be underscores, I think. Yeah, definitely should have ran pre-commit before I pushed. My bad. I don't know why that didn't. Did I don't know. I don't know why that didn't come in, I guess. Expected byte array got bytes. I really wish we could limit reuse somehow. Here we go. Right one. See if this failed for the exact same thing or if there's something different we want to fix also. It's not what we needed. The X there. Yeah, same thing. This seems broken right now. This keeps happening. This doesn't close. This is like a hover, but it doesn't close. You can't like... Sometimes it doesn't close when you move away. What's that? What did that happen? That's like the third time today. So the first couple of times I thought it was a fluke, but no, it's doing that sometimes. I don't know what the trigger is, but sometimes that thing gets stuck, not hidden on the hover out. Workbench wheels must be lockable. Two rules in the workshop. Anything that touches the floor must be on wheels. Only it's done with the leaf blower. Nice. Okay. It doesn't look like we have the actual code. I can see. So there's results from running some code. But we don't necessarily have this code, unless it's one of the tests which got added. Alright, that's back to green now. Actually, a little curious. Did we try to run these? Hey, why? Probably not set up right. Module not found. No module name PyTest. That'll do it, huh? Fair enough. Fixture mocker not found. So I think there was optional dependencies. I test mock. Next workbench will have these. Is that a break? Is that like a huge stomp on break, basically, on the side there? Yeah. Wow. I've never seen ones with such a nice, like, huge thing. Usually it's like these little flywheel things on the side or whatever. Okay. I think what we'll do here is just mention that we merged it to get it updated. Let's see. Really, we'll just say I think probably Monday is the time when this most likely is going to happen. I will ask. Okay, we'll do that. Over the past decade, workbench wheels have definitely gotten better. There's some really nice options out there. Little cheapy ones still exist, but there's options for nice ones. Ooh, excuse me. Stretching it out. Okay, there we go. I think we're gonna call it a day for now. Right there. Got 2 of them in. Pretty happy with that. You get 2 of them or 3 of them? Got 2 of them, I think. Got 2 of them in. This new one was opened up. I hope they'll come back and do that. If they don't, within another week or so, I may push to this branch as well, as long as they added the setting there, so that we can get that one in as well. Because I'd be happy to get this one in too. And then ideally, I'd like to put the example of this in there too. Maybe the NTP one as well. But that's all future state stuff, I think. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. I hope everybody does have a good day. Thanks to all the folks who helped out in the chat as well when I was confused about different stuff. Thank you, I should say, for sure to Dan H today for answers over in the CircuitPython dev channel about that constant stuff we were getting into earlier. Yeah, have a good day, everybody. Have a good weekend, rest of your weekend. It's looking fairly nice out here, so maybe I'll get a walk in and go get some fresh air. So I'll catch you all next time. Be back Monday for sure at some point, I think. But maybe pop in a bit tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. You can follow me over on Twitch if you want to get notifications for that. But anyways, no matter when it may be, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.